Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. It's me, Ari Gossett, Common Rashid. I'm your anthropologist and sociologist. Please hit the like button, share this live stream, subscribe to the channel, become a member of the channel. Don't forget, you can donate to the links below. Thank you very much. And check my novels on Amazon. All right, before I continue, how are you all doing today? Let me know in the live chat. How are you all doing today? Let me sit down for a moment. Okay, Maria's doing good. That's great. Hold on. Okay. In this live stream, I want to address something that's quite obvious, but something we often forget. So I'm starting with a question for you all. Again, if you're driving a car, if you're on the road now, please pay attention to the road, pay attention to traffic. No traffic accidents or maybe well, just listen to the live, but then don't interact in. But for those who are not in traffic and we can interact, I want you to answer the following question if you're doing the live stream right now, if you are live during the live right now when it's live. When do people call the police? That's the question. When do people call the police? Answer the live chat, please. When do people call the police? Do you call the police to have a chat? Do you call the police when you want to order pizza? No, that no. You call the police when either there is danger going on or you think something's about to get out of hand. That's when you call the police. So, and the police will not come unless the situation actually requires their presence. Because the police has limited amount of officers, they can't be everywhere at the same time. So they have to check whether or not the situation you call for actually requires their presence over there. Now, why did I ask you this? When are people calling the police? Because the police, if you call them for nothing, you may go to jail. So the police operates in organized violence. That's what the police does. Now, the difference between a gang and the police is that the police has national backup from the government. And they have a ritual book you need to obey. But still, it's organized violence. So either there's actual danger going on or perceived danger. Now, so if there's a situation that people think they can handle on their own, are you going to call the police? No, they likely will not. Simple as that. Now, I'm getting somewhere with this. Hold on. My question for you is, now this is another question now. How many of you experienced the following? Right when you decided to pray more, read the Bible more, fast more, meditate more, you decided to become more and more spiritually active. You didn't tell anyone on social media. Nobody knows you're doing this. Behind the scenes in your life, you're reading the Bible more, praying more, fasting more. But you notice anytime you're in prayer, or anytime you're reading the Bible, or anytime you're getting some new insight, someone from the past calls you. Or out of the blue, you have these debt collectors sending you some letters suddenly. Or maybe when you're in public now, out of the blue, more people tend to notice you, or more people tend to uh, get upset with you. How many of you experienced all I just described? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. Now, let me explain to you what's going on. The moment you decide to pray, fast, decree, and declare, and read the Bible more, your energy emissions through your energy field increases. You go into a high you go into high vibration. In this high vibration, you have an impact on the environment around you. It's not an instant impact, so it's not like you're seeing the impact yourself, but you're having an impact. But here's the thing: your impact has physical consequences for those around you, especially those who either are involved with you right now or who have been involved with you. So the moment people around you begin to experience disruptions in the daily life, they want to find out who's caused those disruptions. It could be that you decided to decree and declare um, Psalms 91, Psalms 23. It could be you decide to decree and declare that all violence flees from you. And maybe you even decreed Isaiah chapter 54, in which says that no weapon formed against you prospers, and that every tongue speaking against the judgment is condemned. Let's say you've been decreeing this over and over again, that every tongue speaking against your judgment is condemned, and that no weapon formed against you prospers. You've been decreeing, declaring this for like weeks now. And then you hear, one day you go to work, and you hear that one of your managers has been in the hospital for over 2 weeks. You thought he was on vacation, but he was in the hospital. He had a big crash in his own house, and to be rushed to the hospital. But then you've noticed that after the news came out he's in the hospital, some people began to resign from the job, from work. But you didn't notice that you had anything to do with it. Long story short, one day you resign yourself, you become self-employed, and then like a year or two after you become self-employed, so after you left that job of yours, now one of your former colleagues that you encounter at a bus stop tells you that one of your one of the manager that ended up in the hospital, he passed away. And you think, what? He passed away? Yeah, over a year ago. Now you've been out of there for over 2 years already, so you don't know that he passed away. And then the colleague tells you, you know what the funny part is, man? Before this guy became ill and had to go to the hospital, all of that, this guy wanted to fire you. This guy was talking shit about you almost every day when you were not around. And I've noticed that all the people talk shit about you. They either got sick, had to take sick leave like that other manager was now dead, or they just resigned very quickly after it came out that one manager is in the hospital. And now you think, whoa, you had no idea that you decreeing that no weapon formed against you prospers and that every tongue speaking against your judgment is condemned. You had no idea the weight that your decrees carried. But now you know things were going on behind the scenes. Let me do another thing. Let's say now you have a daughter, and your daughter has been going through a lot of mental issues. So you now, together with a group of people, also believers, command peace of your daughter on a regular basis through your prayers, decrees, declarations. And you notice that things are going better with your daughter. She's getting calmer and calmer. But at the same time, your daughter tells you one day that since she's doing better, 3/4 of all her contacts on social media either blocked her or unfriended her. And your daughter tells you that a lot of her former friends, or women she thought were her friends, ended up beaten up by their boyfriends or husbands. Some even ended up homeless because they were kicked out by their partners all of it. And they ask your daughter, when did all of this begin to happen? Like 4 months ago. And she realized that 6 months ago, you guys began to decree and declare a lot on behalf of your daughter. And it's around that time that she began to improve psychologically. Now, let me give one more example. Let's say now you are decreeing and declaring uh, financial prosperity on your own behalf, and you have good intentions with it. Now, it's not like millions of dollars fall out of the sky immediately. What you are decreeing and declaring a financial shift in your favor. You're decreeing, declaring, and you don't hear much. You don't see much. So at some point you thought you were praying in vain or decreeing in vain, but you continued. Out of the blue, you hear that the government coalition of your country almost crashed because of some debate between the political parties that was so heated. And you wanted to know what was the debate about. It was about um, an economic decline that was upcoming in the country. An economic decline that nobody understood why it's coming. Things are going perfectly fine, they say. But suddenly, you have a lot of these businesses going bankrupt. Suddenly, you have a lot of criminals succeeding in robbing a lot of places. So a lot of cash is going missing from society. It became so bad that politics had to get involved. Now, what you don't see is that behind the scenes, there's a relocation happening of financial resources. And that sooner or later, all this relocation will benefit you and your future projects. It could be that you've been declaring financial abundance on your own behalf. And maybe a few weeks from now, someone suddenly gets the idea to start a foundation or do a project. And what do you know? That project is similar to the business you want to start. So now, through this foundation, you're able to get some basic business credit to help you start your own business. And now you start your small business, and now you have all these people coming to you, become your clients. A lot of these people, they have a horrible background, but nevertheless, you have clients now. What I'm saying is that you decreeing and declaring financial prosperity on your own behalf, it triggered events in the spirit world that had physical consequences in real life. And the consequences in real life were happening all over the place. You were just not aware that you were triggering those real life events. Now, I have a question for you. In the last example of someone decreeing and declaring financial prosperity on their own behalf, they're doing this in their own living room. They're not doing this outside in public. They're not doing this while filming it live on YouTube, whatever. They're just in the quote unquote privacy of their own home. Nobody knows what they're doing. They're decreeing, declaring financial prosperity on behalf. And now, as a result, you have all these financial shifts happening in the country. I have a question for you. Do you think the people in the country are going to be happy with the sudden financial shifts that are going on? And they have no idea what's causing it. You think the people are going to be happy? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. No, they're not going to be happy. Well, let's go back to another example I just gave of someone having a daughter, and they and a group decide to pray for the daughter over and over again, or decree for the daughter. Now the daughter's doing better psychologically, but the lives of a lot of the people in her environment are disrupted. What's going on? That daughter was a target of psychic violence, of people negatively meditating on her. And now that you've prayed, now that the daughter is getting prayers, people praying for her, she's doing well better, but now all the negative tension towards her is backfiring. So now you have all this domestic violence exploding suddenly in the community. You think the police will be happy with that? You think the courthouse will be happy with all this domestic violence exploding? You think the common people that live there are going to be happy with all this drama happening out of the blue? No. So, long story short, if the people in the country found out what caused disruption, what do you think they would do? Let me know in the live chat. What do you think they would do? What do you think the people in the country would do if they found out what was causing the disruption? Let me know in the live chat. I'm going to tell you what they would do. They would be pissed off, upset, raging, and they would go after the people that were praying. That's what they would do. But there's the thing, because they were praying, decreeing, declaring in their own house, in their own living room or their own bedroom, they can't just go to their house, break in, and kill them or do anything like that. So they'll try to get close to those people, try to befriend them. They'll try to get involved with them. Either they'll try to exhaust those people in such a way that they don't have time to pray, decree, and declare anymore. So let's say you have parents who are decreeing, declaring above their daughter, and the daughter's doing better. But now everyone in the social circle of the daughter now is having mental breakdowns, explosion, domestic violence, all of that. The parents who've been praying for her suddenly may have a lot of workload at work. And because of that, they get tired every time they're at home and they forget to pray. Or it can be that suddenly old friends and people from the past catch up again um, with, maybe the mom or the dad. And because of that, they're so distracted by all the company they have. I've heard testimonies of believers who are praying and decreeing, declaring, and out of the blue, their phones kept ringing, ringing. They ignored the phones ringing. After they finished fasting, they realized that 4 or 5 different numbers called them. They would call back those numbers and then realize, hold on a minute, this number's out of use. Or sometimes they would call back an individual, doesn't even remember calling them. And I'm thinking, what goes on over here? Well, let me tell you what is going on. It is quite simple. You're doing something that is disrupting the public's ease. Look, if you go in the street and you begin to scream and shout in the middle of the night. You're disrupting people's sleep. Rightfully so, they call the police to take you away. If you go to public and you cause a scene, causing a lot of stress and embarrassment, the police will come and arrest you for disrupting public order. If you go to someone's house or to a restaurant and you begin to throw objects all around, they'll either kick you out in a violent way or they'll call the cops to remove you because you're destroying private property. If you're causing a disruption there in person, in the physical, they can see it's you're the one causing the trouble. And they now know who to focus on. And because you're there physically, they can either use physical violence to restrain you, or they can use a bullet to shoot you and kill you. I mean, they can do something about it physically. But if you are at a distance remotely causing disruption, what can they do about it? If you were there in person, they could say, well, he's trespassing. So we need to arrest this individual, he's trespassing. If you're trespassing without being there physically, what can people do about it? Absolutely nothing. But nevertheless, they are experiencing the consequence of you praying, decreeing, and declaring. Now, here's the thing when your prayers, decrees, and declarations, when they have an impact on, on other people, people will not always know it's you. But here's the thing when you're praying, decreeing, and declaring, when you're doing this, you begin to change. When you pray, decree, and declare financial prosperity on your own behalf, it will eventually change your own attitude towards finances. So you become either smarter financially or you become more of a risk taker financially uh, to, to get your project started. If you decree and declare that no weapon formed against you shall prosper and that every tongue speak against you in judgment is condemned, you eventually become more confident going out there. You're not becoming reckless and put yourself in bad situations, but you're more confident out there. And that being more confident can be noticed by people. So people notice a change within you that you don't notice yourself. And they want to know where is change coming from. While you are experiencing this change that you're not aware of yourself, there are things escalating behind the scenes. There are disruptions happening. So people who look at the situation are going to notice that, hold on a minute, these disruptions that goes on right now, how come this suddenly happening? Someone's behind this. And these people will go to fortune tellers. And there the demons will tell them through the fortune teller, there's someone praying, decreeing, declaring behind the scenes. And little by little they figure out it's you. Or let's say they don't go to fortune tellers. Let's say you're praying, decreeing, declaring that no weapon formed against you prospers, that every tongue speak against you, judgment is condemned. What's going to happen now? Everyone with a negative view of you will face backlash in their lives. What if there are car accidents happening, the explosion, domestic violence, or accidents in general? And all that's happening around the same time. If a police detective or any random individual online begins to research all of it, they'll figure out that all the people that were involved in all these escalations have one thing in common. They all went to the same school, or they all lived in it, all attended the same university. And you begin to think, hey, how come all these people attended this school? The majority of them have all these issues going on. What's going on besides them attending the same school? Then you'll notice that there's something about that school because all the people having all these issues right now come from the same school or the same university. And then they keep hearing those people involved in these incidents complaining and murmuring about someone. And if your name pops up over and over again, people are murmuring, complaining, and all those people going through to shit right now, people find out who's this guy or who's this woman they're complaining and murmuring about. By the way, if you ask questions later relate to the topic, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. But anyway, so these people now are going to think, okay, who's this woman they keep complaining about? Who's this guy they keep complaining about? And why are all these people will not even relate to one another, will live in different locations? How come they all go through difficulties right now? And when they go difficulties, one individual will remember is this Rashid over there, or is this Kevin over there, or is Lisa or Samantha over there? And then when they look you up, they'll notice that you're doing perfectly fine. So people are going to think, well, on a minute, you are perfectly fine over there. But then I have all these people, remember, complaining about you going through difficulties. So people are going to understand this connection between you and them going through difficulties. Now, those that are spiritually literate will realize that you're spiritually active. Now, they don't know whether you're a believer, walking by faith, or that you're a pagan doing spells on people. They don't know. So they don't want to get close to you to figure out what goes on. Some may notice as you praying, decreeing, declaring is causing disruption. So they now want you to stop praying, decreeing, declaring. But they can't control what you do remotely. And they can't just go to your house and stop you. So they'll try to hinder you, train you, distract you. That's what they're doing. So does this answer your question, Christopher? Roger, you know what it means, suffer not a wish to live. In the Old Testament time, this is what they did. If you were a witch, you were executed. What does it mean for us today under the New Testament? It simply means we don't allow witches to succeed in their witchcraft. So we don't take the same approach by executing them, absolutely not, because we're under new covenant. Nevertheless, we don't allow them to live freely at the expense of others. Well, the thing is, you shouldn't go to psychics anyway. If you don't go to a psychic, they can't hypnotize you. Simple as that. It doesn't matter why you pray, decree, and declare, but you know what? It's safer to decree and declare inside your own house. Because then people cannot locate the cause of the issues towards you. It's a smart thing to do. There are even testimonies of believers who begin to pray, decree, and declare, and suddenly, out of the blue, their employers or became very kind towards them, or people randomly begin to contact them. Do you need a job? Whatever. There are believers out there who witness people's attitude changing 180 degrees towards them. First, nobody cared about them, nobody even responded to them, and suddenly everyone's so attentive towards them. What's going on? All this attention and care is not meant from the heart. People are experiencing bad outcomes in their life, and they feel that the only way the bad outcomes will stop is if they treat you better. You're using the power of the Holy Spirit over these people and it happens from a distance, and you're not even aware of it. So understand the following: if your prayers, decrees, and declarations were useless and a waste of time, guess what? You would only be exhausting yourself for nothing, and you won't have any impact what goes on out there. You think people want to care if your prayers, decrees, and declaration were just a religious repetition with no actual effect? They wouldn't even care. They wouldn't care less. As a matter of fact, to them, you wouldn't even be existing. But the moment your prayers, decrees, declarations actually have an impact, now people get upset. Now they want to not have a problem with you, and now they suddenly you suddenly become a priority. Not priority for the right reasons, but you get what I mean. I made a live streams about that, Roger. Please check those live streams. I made live streams about that topic before, many of them. So all this after we finish this live, watch those replays, those other ones. But just understand the following: If your prayers, decrees, declarations were useless and a waste of time, you wouldn't face all this disruption in your life out of the blue. Because there's one thing you need to understand about prayers, decrees, declarations. You will seldom get a swift outcome when you pray, decree, and declare. It goes like this. When you pray, decree, and declare, things are set in motion. And then out of the blue, one day, bang, it all materializes. Now, sometimes when you pray, decree, and declare, it happens immediately within a few seconds. That can happen, but it's not the norm. There's an exception. What I'm saying is that others will notice your prayers, decrees, and declarations work out before you do. They'll notice it before you do. So if you suddenly get all these weirdos added you on social media, you don't even know who they are. Or if you suddenly have all these people calling you over and over again or sending text messages talking about nonsense, why these people calling you out of the blue? Or if you suddenly at work you have more issues, more difficulties, or if you have any disruption popping up suddenly, and you notice that those difficulties only popping up after you've been seriously praying, declaring, declaring more, now you know what goes on. The people are noticing an impact coming from you, and they can't put a finger on it and realize that you have some leverage over them that they can't control, and it's terrifying them. Some people will fake being on your side and then be friends with you, just in order to talk to you hours on the phone to distract you, forget to become your life. Some people even plan to take your life, to get you into accidents, all of that. Why? Because they realize that, hold on a minute, if this individual, without a gun, without a weapon, without a military, without cash, can cause things to happen in my life from a distance, I don't want this individual to know that they have this power. Because the moment they know where they're going to use it more, and what can I do about it then? And you know what? The fact alone this individual has this power means that the only way to be certain I'm not going to be bothered anymore if this individual is gone. You may even have people desiring you to die. That will happen too. I mean, if you're praying, decreeing, and declaring, for example, against child trafficking, and suddenly a lot of these uh, criminal cartels are losing their drugs because the drug trade and also the trafficking of women and children are often interconnected, not always. Let's say you pray, decree, and declare against child trafficking in your area, and out of the blue, suddenly you have all these incidents where criminals are losing their drugs and they end up losing it publicly. So all the drug dealers are being exposed now. They expose themselves by losing their mind because they lost their drugs, worth millions of dollars. And because that, they're arrested. I noticed that um, a lot of the a lot of the divorce rates going up right now. There's more divorces happening. What you were not aware of was that the child trafficking had to deal with prostitution. Maybe you knew, maybe you knew it, maybe you didn't know, and that it also was related to the nightlife. So the nightlife, you go to nightclubs over, and the child trafficking and the drugs were all connected. So by you decreeing and declaring against child trafficking, you decreed and declared against an important source of income for the criminal world. And by you doing this, the other segments of the criminal world also suffered, in this case, the drug trade. And because a lot of the men in your community who were married were secretly going to prostitutes, some of them underage, still secretly. Now, it's not that what they were doing is exposed, but now, because they can't go to those prostitutes anymore, their sexual dysfunction becomes, they have no outlet anymore for their sexual dysfunction, and now the marriages fall apart. So the increase in divorces, as well as criminals going rogue in public, it all began to happen after you began to decree and declare consistently against child trafficking. But you had no idea how complex the whole situation was. But things you don't have to know how complex it was. You still affected the situation. But here's the thing, if you would ever come in the open, let's say on YouTube or elsewhere, saying you've been praying decree against child trafficking, guess what? Let's say one day some of those drug dealers who lost millions of dollars worth of drugs hear that someone's been praying against child trafficking. The drug dealers were also warlocks most of the time realized, oh, this was goes on. The prayers of this individual over here has been disrupting our trading drugs. You think those drug dealers are going to be happy with you? No. If they see the YouTube channel, YouTube video, or they see the interview in the newspaper or whatever, my God, they're going to try to figure out who's this individual, who are his family members. They'll start coming up with some type of criminal operation to shut you down. Or let's say now that you have more scandals coming out in the community, embarrassing the public. You think the couples, the children of the couples, all those people behind the scenes were affected by the scandals coming out, going to be happy? If they find out that it's your prayers that's causing all the scandals to come out, my God, they'll seek to get rid of you. Of course, they're going to pretend to be on your side, support you. They'll do their research on you. They will hire private detectives to investigate you. They will hire private investigators to investigate you. They'll build a whole file about you. And let me tell you, if your impact is causing a lot of problems, a lot of issues in society, because anytime you pray, decree, and declare, the darkness around you is shattered. And because the world operates in darkness, when the darkness is shattered, it's going to cause trouble. Anytime that's happening, if at some point the disruption becomes political, now you'll have the government itself sending agents to check on you and to monitor you. You may have a lot of police cars passing by you out of the blue anytime you go out in public. Anywhere you go in public, whether it's just to go to the supermarket or you go to an event or sometimes you just go to work back and forth, you notice police cars are around you often. And you think, what the heck goes on over here? You tell people about it and they say, man, you're being paranoid. They're just doing their jobs. There's other things going on. But the thing is, others notice too that, hold on a minute, dude, everywhere you are, every half hour there's a police car popping up. What goes on over here? Others are noticing it too. Let me tell you what goes on. Your impact causes so much disruptions that people figure out it's you behind the scenes causing it. And now they're monitoring you. Either they're monitoring you because the government knows a lot of people want to take your life and they now are secretly protecting you, or they're monitoring you to see what you're up next so they can be ahead of what you're doing. It's what I'm to do. Well, I said the funniest thing is when the people are invested in privacy realize about spiritual power and spirituality. Thing is, people who are people who are educated in spiritual knowledge, they know that this thing of privacy doesn't even exist. It's imagination, something we imagine that exists. Listen, you can shield off information from other people. You can do that. But it doesn't mean the information is not accessible. You could be cheating on your wife right now in some motel. And because of privacy laws, the motel owner is not allowed to show your data that you were there with someone else. Okay, so the information is shielded off. And if there's no police investigation, guess what? Nobody's going to figure out you were there with someone cheating on your wife. But here's the thing: you cheating on your wife has consequences on your own mind and body that others going to pick up and think, why is this guy being so distant towards his wife? Or your wife, when you have intercourse with her now, will pick up some weird dynamic. And this thing, when you were cheating on your wife, having that intercourse at the motel, it released negative tension in the Earth's atmosphere, and demons picked it up. So demons came closer and saw what you were doing, and demons were talking about it. And if people decide to spiritually meditate on you, they'll pick you up visuals of you having sex with a woman is not your wife. And they may even hear the word divorce out of the blue. So when they do energetic inquiries about you in the Earth's atmosphere, they will pick up things about you. So the whole idea of privacy is people want to escape. And the way they escape is by controlling information about themselves. Now, you can succeed in shielding off information from the public, but listen, that doesn't mean that the call information cannot be found out. People that believe in privacy, once they hear about energetic inquiries and remote viewing, they get terrified because they think, oh my God. So you can't actually hide anything on the earth. No, you cannot. You can shield off information temporarily, but you can't hide anything on the earth. And that is reality. Once we find out about that, they lose their mind. And here's another thing. Let's say now there are people talking about you behind your back and all of that. And you just begin to decree and declare exposure. And that every weapon formed against you fails and all that. The moment you do your decrees declarations, out of the blue, a lot of the dumb things you do behind the scenes become public. Maybe someone who doesn't like you behind the scenes is also, let's say, involved, with people who are watching porn all the time. And now, little by little, these things are coming out too. Or maybe someone is cheating on the spouse and it comes out too. So what I'm saying is, when you were decreeing exposure, you triggered a spiritual consequence in the Earth's atmosphere, and it resulted in physical outcomes. And one of the physical outcomes is a lot of people's quote unquote private affairs are exposed. Now, you didn't dox these people. You did not put secret cameras in house, record them, and put them on the internet. You did not hack their mobile phones and went to their phone, all that. No. But their private affairs are now being exposed one way or the other, either through malfunction of the security of the internet, or by accidentally they post something they don't want to have posted. So one way or the other, things keep coming out. And these people are thinking, how come all these things we want to keep private are coming out like that? And then they find out that you have been declaring exposure of everyone who's involved who's operating against you. The moment they find out that you've been declaring exposure about everyone who's against you for a while, and they realize that around the same time, they who don't like you, constrain you, have all their issues exposed, realize, oh my God, this whole thing called privacy is not even real. As a result, these people, what is going to happen? You think going to tell you, hey, stop praying, declaring, because you praying, declaring, it's now because us to be exposed? No. They realize that privacy is a fake power. It doesn't exist. But the thing is, you now are the one operating in power. You don't have the leverage over them. So they'll either become super kind towards you in their behavior and hope you will stop, or they will just flat out run away from you, flee from you. Let me tell you, the one thing that creeps out world people the most is when they realize that you walking in power can expose anything they're doing. And here's the thing. Can they call the cops on you, call the police on you, saying, oh, this individual violated my privacy, this individual trespassed, this individual hacked my computer, this individual put cameras in my house? No, you were not there physically. But nevertheless, your prayers caused a physical disruption that exposed things they were wanted to keep hidden. But how can they arrest you and put you in prison? They can't do it. So, listen, if you broke into their house and put cameras everywhere and recorded it, or if you hacked their phone and exposed their private messages, or if you did any of that, now that's something they can go to the police to charge you with and arrest you and put you in prison. But if you just praying, declaring, and behind the scenes, and things materialize and things are exposed, what can they do about you? What can they do? Absolutely nothing. Listen, If your prayers, decrees, and declarations were all useless, you wouldn't face all the backlash you're facing. You're facing this backlash because you are effective. But here's the thing, people don't want you to know you're effective. Let me tell you one thing. When you're praying, decreeing, and declaring, and yes, the more you pray, decree, and declare, the more impact you're going to have. If you only pray once a month, guess what? You rarely have any impact. But if you pray consistently every day, continuously, when prayer, decrees, and declaration are your lifestyle, you are having an impact. You're triggering outcomes continuously. When you have a big impact around you with your prayer, decrees, and declarations, and people figure out that you're having an impact behind the scenes, they're either try to label you a witch if you're a woman, or try to label you as a warlock if you're a man, or even try to accuse you of being a devil worshiper, or a sorcerer, or whatever, in the hope that it will destroy your reputation and you will have more difficulties in your life. Because if you have more difficulties, then you focus on those difficulties and they may stretch on praying, fasting, decreeing, declaring. Or people will come together and realize, oh my God, this guy has a leverage over us. You know what? Let's act like nothing goes on. If you are going through financial difficulty, people may decide to make life hard on you financially. They would try to put you on blacklists out there so nobody would hire you to get a job. So now you're praying, decreeing, declaring, and you're doing, and you apply for 200 jobs, but still nobody hired you. And you're thinking, what goes on? What's going on is that people found out that your prayers, decrees, declaration are effective. So now they want you to think like they're not effective. So people are going harder against you right now, more than ever before, in the hope you will give up. Or people will decide not to answer your text messages, to ignore you. People will begin to either ignore you or try to make life hard on you so that you may think that what you're doing, it doesn't matter. That's another thing that people can do also. Yes. And that's why you need to be delivered. You know why? Because let's say you have a tendency to go out from time to time and get a drink. Okay? If you have the tendency to go out and get a drink from time to time, they now can use this tendency to trick you into a bar fight or do a fight somewhere to get you arrested or whatever. If you have the tendency to worry about things, now they can send false reports towards you, get you to worry and stress, and before you know it, you have a mental breakdown, whatever. What I'm saying is, when you're praying, decreeing, and declaring, and you have an impact, the public will retaliate. And they will do the investigation and the research to find out what open doors you have in your life they can use against you. Maybe you have a mother who is a bit pessimistic. And out of the blue, your mother keeps calling you over and over again. Evil spirits are now triggering your mom to call you over and over again. And anytime you talk to your mom has a negative effect on you. Your mom doesn't even know herself why she keeps calling you. It's demons triggering her. The demons are acting off of the public who's in darkness. Or maybe your mom is part of the plot too. Knowingly, I don't know. That can be the cause too. Or maybe you work at a place where a lot of people around you are emotionally unstable. So now, out of the blue, people at work suddenly feel hurt anytime they're around you. They act out against you more often. What I'm saying is, expect retaliation to come. That's why it's important for you to both be unlinked from toxic people, and to be delivered from toxic traits from within yourself. When you're delivered from toxic traits within yourself, and you also will be freed from toxic people around you, guess what? There is not much the public nor demons can use to retaliate against you. You can't make it easy for the world to retaliate against you. What are you doing? All right? Let me tell you, people will on purpose try to convince you that you're not relevant, you don't matter, and that whatever you do has no impact. The fact that making this effort against you already means that you have an impact. Do not be surprised if people suddenly ghost you out of the blue. the more you pray, decree, and declare. Don't be surprised of that. Because here's the thing, they cannot tell you to stop praying, decree, and declare. They can't tell you to stop, make you stop you doing that. So that's why a lot of churches talk about free will. You should never violate people's free will. You should never, people have a right to will whatever they will. This thing called free will, it just makes you think that you don't have the right to intervene in the lives of others around you, which is bullshit. You're not there physically intervening, but you're still intervening. You can do that. So just know that when you pray, decree, and declare in faith, you have an impact. The impact is not going to be appreciated. So get ready for the backlash and make sure that you are not giving opportunity for people to resist you. So if you have some toxic traits that you need to unlearn or be delivered from, then please work on yourself. Go get a therapy you need, whatever you need in order to improve. If you have people in your life that may be a bit toxic or a bit questionable, ask yourself why you even fall for them still. If you need to limit contact, limit involvement, please do that. Do not offer opportunities for people to use against you. Listen, let me tell you one thing. When people have been invested against you and you're breaking through right now, they are talking about you. They just don't want you to know they're talking about you. You hear me? You're not an incident of public disorder that the police deals with and is over with. You're not just a common thief in a supermarket that's arrested and now is dealt with. People can continue. You are an ongoing disruption that affects them day and night. That affects them. That's what you've become. So of course they're talking about you. Of course, some may be plotting against you. Now, I'm not telling you to be paranoid, thinking everyone in the world's against you. Don't be paranoid, absolutely not. But just know if you have an impact, and the impact is noticed as coming from you, guess what? Don't think it's strange when folks suddenly begin to act against you. And another thing I want to point out to you here. Sometimes it's your own family members who are behind the plot. Now, let me tell you one thing. In your case, well led, watch out, please. Be watchful. Because what you're describing here is quite disturbing. But okay. What I'm saying is ask any retired police detective or retired police officer who dealt with criminal cases, especially homicide cases or case of robbery or sexual violence. And they will tell you that most of the time, the perpetrator was someone the victim knew. Do you know that sometimes when bodies are discovered, corpses are discovered, and people look and the forensics come to investigate the corpse, there's a weird facial expression on the human body, like the individual was in shock right before they were killed. Listen, if someone is gunned down, someone was holding the gun and killed them. But what if the individual that held the gun was someone they knew, someone they never expected? Of course, they're going to be shocked, and then they die while they had the shock on their face. Do you know that a lot of criminal cases never get solved until the cold case because people don't want to know who did it? Because already suspect is someone that was close. Listen, I'm not saying everyone in the world is treacherous. I'm not saying everyone in the world is going to do you dirty. I'm not saying everyone in the world is a jealous and envious narcissist. I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you clearly. When people in the world cannot escape, they will escalate. Simple as that. And let me tell you, it will often be the people closest to you that either are the ones that want you gone or they will collaborate with those that want you gone. Think about it. If, let's say now, you have people who can't stand migrants. Let's say you have xenophobic, racist people in an area and they can't stand migrants. And they're even people with cash. And they're sponsoring all these racist politicians. But then, despite all the racist policies, all the migrants keep coming in and prospering. And then you find out a lot of people from the Hispanic migrants are people watching or listening to some YouTuber who's a believer and also Hispanic. So you have this Hispanic believer with a YouTube podcast inspiring Hispanic migrants who cross the border. Once these racist people find out that these Hispanic people keep crossing the border, are empowered by some Latino, Latino or Latina Christian YouTuber who's empowering them, guess what? They'll send trolls to that channel to troll the individual when they're doing live streams, all of that. Or they'll file reports to the police against the YouTube channel, claiming that it's racist and all of that. They'll do anything desperate to shut that channel down. Why? Because they in their life have to keep putting up with all these Hispanics or migrants coming in. And even if coming illegally, it seems like the police cannot deport them. Why? Because there's special power behind those migrants coming in. If you have a lot of illegal migrants keep coming in and the police can't do anything about it, it's not a policy issue. It could be there's a spiritual power behind those illegal migrants. So if people find out that there's power behind them is believers just putting out content that they're using, they'll go after those believers. Just an example. If you were in person trespassing, they could use physical violence on you to stop you or to arrest you, whatever, or even to kill you. But because you're not there physically, but you're still disrupting what goes on, they lose their mind because what can you do about it? I am telling you, do not underestimate the impact and effect of your prayers, decrees, and declarations. That's why you have to walk by faith and for your own good and the good of those around you, be delivered. Get rid of all those toxic traits that you may still have, and also get rid of all the toxic social connections you have so that you can't be easily sabotaged. All right? Again, are there any questions about this topic? Please let me know in the live chat. Are there any questions about this topic? God is good. I'm not telling you, by the way, that if out of the blue a lot of people become kind towards you, that's always a plot or whatever. People, if people find out about you and they sympathize with you, uh, they can show sympathy towards you. If people find out what you've been going through and they have sympathy for you, that can be real and genuine. I'm not saying that if you have sudden kindness towards you, automatically it's something suspicious. I'm just telling you to check the timing and the context. Okay? Just always check the context. Don't just make conclusions based on how you feel. Check what goes on. All right. Well, thank you all for being here. Keep on agreeing with Christ. Be at peace. I'll talk to you next time. Shalom.